internet. I am going to do my very first ADHD reseller hack for you. It might not work for you. Sometimes it doesn't work for me, but it's always nice to try. If I can't get started on listings, or if I just feel like super overwhelmed and I have too many items, or whatever the case may be, what I generally do is I grab a bag or a box, usually a box or this sort of fancier box, and I just stick 10 items in it. It's not always the same type of item. Sometimes it's like, oh, these are my high value items that have been sitting around for too long and I really need to list them. Sometimes it is like, these are all tops, these are all dresses, these are all shoes, whatever works for you or works for me in the moment. Today it's mostly swimwear, as I grab 4 things that are not swimwear, but yeah, I really need to list swimwear before the fall happens. So I've got board shorts, I've got a pillowcase, I've got a baby sling, here, actual swimwear, a tank top, swim. I think it is easier to list a certain type of thing at a time, but I don't always do that. Pick 10 items. Sometimes it's just the items that like haven't been put away yet. That works too. So grab your 10 items, and then what I do is I start everything in eBay no matter what, unless I'm just not gonna list it on eBay for whatever reason. Like this is really only gonna sell on Poshmark, or this really needs to go to Amazon, whatever the case may be. So I grab my 10 items, I open up eBay, and I make drafts for every single one of them. And I will search for, let's say, Wild Fox tank top or muscle tank, medium. And then I will see what's listed already and kind of keep those prices in mind, especially if I find the exact one. But you want to always check your sold listings. Like if you're doing retail arbitrage and you're in a store and you scan something or look something up and all of the listed prices are super duper high, do not get excited yet. You have to go to the solds and see what solds are going for, or if any have sold. Like sometimes I'll look up an item and there are 10 or more listed and the prices are all really high. Like the thing's selling for $5 and all the prices are at 60, but there are no solds in the last 90 days. That is not good. So always check your solds and don't get too excited by the listed prices. So there's a feature on eBay, if you're brand new to eBay, where you can search for an item, and then when you find one that you like, you can sell one like this, and that copies almost everything into a template for you. So for this one, I would look it up, find the closest one I could to it, if not the exact item, and then when you open that item up, and I'll try to like insert examples of my screen recording on this, when you get that item up on your screen, there's going to be an option if you scroll through, I'll just keep going. When you scroll through, there's going to be a button in one of 2 places that says sell one like this, and that is the best way to start a listing, especially from a sold item, because you know they've used the right keywords, you know that like this thing actually got sold. So I always copy one of those and it's sell one like this, and then it will transfer all of that information except the description into your listing and have a draft for it. Then I go through and I put in my, so say I found this exact thing, but it was a small, I would still use that listing, and then I'd go in and edit the title and say, this is a medium, and then go down to the item details and fill in, this is a medium, or same with like, it's a slightly different color, whatever. And then once I make sure all of that information is correct, I'll do my description. Sometimes I do a really brief description because I'm going to wait to take photos, and I usually notice something in the photo taking process. So I don't get super in detail with those descriptions right off the bat, but I do put in all of the necessary information right off the bat. And I also pick my price. So then at the end of my researching my 10 items, I'll have 10 drafts that have most of my information correct. All I have to add is the photos and then hit list. What I was going to say earlier is if you find something that has sold or is listed that is an international seller, or if it's a seller that has multiples, like they have a lot of this item, you can't copy that listing. You have to find a different one. So that won't be an option, or it might say like you can't sell one like this on this listing. That makes sense. So I go through, I make all my drafts, I do the best description I can, and sometimes that is the final description. But if I, I'm not going to examine this while I'm going. So if I find a flaw, I'll plug that in later. This might be a bad one to start with. Sell one like this, and I don't have my gestures on. Then once I've got all of my drafts, I either take photos in the app, the eBay app, of all of the items, or if I think I'm going to cross-post it or cross-list it at all, if there's any chance that I'm going to cross-list it, I take photos outside the app in square mode. I feel like this is really, really important and very time-saving. It's really hard to make an eBay photo fit into a Poshmark photo, and it is really easy to make a Poshmark photo fit into an eBay photo and just like crop the sides or whatever. So always shoot in square mode if you think there's any chance that you're going to cross-list it, because the worst thing in the world is having to drag something out or having to open a like make it a square app. I don't like those. Another thing that you can do if you forget that you're going to list it somewhere else is you can screenshot your eBay photos and put them on Poshmark. Screenshots are way higher resolution than we think they are. So that's always a possibility. Let's do this one. This is a Roxy bikini. It's very cute. That mark, it's like an outlet or went to Marshall's or something. I would definitely take pics of that. And they cut the tags out. So I'm just gonna search for bikini gold rainbow leaves, Roxy first. Wait, is that it? Let me see. That's it. Okay, so someone has this listed for $26 plus shipping or best offer, and it is pre-owned. So I'm gonna sort for solds and go ahead and do condition used. And I don't see any like it, but because that one is listed for $24 plus shipping, I'm just gonna go ahead and put mine at $24.99 and free shipping, because this doesn't weigh anything. First class. Another thing that I do with my eBay listings is I do a lot of things. I usually will, if it's eligible for first class, I'll have that as the option. And a lot of times I will do free shipping if it's first class, depending on the value of the item. If it is eligible for first class and I'm paying for the shipping, I will almost always put an option for the buyer to upgrade shipping to priority, and I just figure out like what flat rate packaging that will fit in and price it either accordingly, or something that I've been doing lately is so if a flat rate envelope is going to cost me $7 or whatever it is exactly, $7.25, I can't remember anymore. I'll round down to either $6.99 or $5.99, and if it's a first class package and I am going to charge shipping just because it's a cheap item or something, I'll do $2.99 or even $1.99. I've never charged 99 cents to do it for free. But that way, if I'm paying about $8 for shipping and they're covering $6 of it, that's a pretty good deal for me, and they know maybe how much priority shipping costs, and so they think they're getting a deal too, and I don't have to like fork over all the shipping. Again, a lot of people say like free shipping is best, it puts you at the top, whatever, but I have not noticed that I sell more or less based on free shipping or not, so for what it's worth. Once I have my drafts, I might just let those sit. and do photos later, or do photos the next day, or, you know, I've got something else to do. I'm doing FBA that day. But I like to have at least 10 drafts ready to list at all times. The other thing that I'm personally going to try to start doing more of is taking advantage of my hyperfocus. ADHD usually comes with hyperfocus, and hyperfocus is super great unless you're trying to like complete a series of tasks. And it's really hard to list every single day when there are so many steps involved with listing. So all the time, but I'm not good at getting from A to Z on a consistent basis. I'm gonna get from A to M to 17. That's just the way it is. So what I'm going to try to do, and I think it's helped me in the past, but I've just like fallen off the wagon of it, is when I'm in the mode of taking photos, I'm gonna photograph every single thing I can. And when I'm in the mode of making drafts, I'm gonna draft everything I can, so that on the days when either I'm out and I can't list, or I just don't feel like pulling stuff out and listing, I can have a bunch of drafts and a bunch of photos ready to put together, or even already have my photos in my drafts and just have to publish. So that's my ideal situation going forward. One thing I also do when I am starting listings is research, sometimes on other apps as well, platforms like Poshmark mostly. I never check like, well, what's this going for on Mercari? Like, that's just not part of my process. It's probably a good idea, especially on stuff like shoes, like check those shoes apps, whatever. But this is one of those things where I feel like, this is Mara Hoffman. She's a fancy swimwear designer. This is not a practical bikini bottom, but if it's something like this where you look it up on eBay, and I haven't looked this up lately, you look it up on eBay and you know the retail price is like $150 and they're all going for $10, that would definitely be a time where I would stop what I'm doing, run over to Poshmark and double check and be like, okay, and then write it on my list. Like, this is also going to Poshmark. But obviously that's in my head because I researched this like 2 months ago and I'm still remembering it. That doesn't seem fair, does it? And I've totally stopped listing now. I don't think I'm gonna be a very good list with me YouTuber, but I will tell you, that's been working really well for me, just grabbing 10 random items and getting started, because ADHD is really hard to get started, continue, and finish things. But this one is finished. All right, thank you for watching. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, I would love it if you would. I promise these videos will get better. I'm sorry, they will. And like it if you liked it, or dislike it, it's fine. Just do whatever you want. I think you're doing a really great job.